Hardline anti-crime mayor Rodrigo Duterte is poised to become the next president of the Philippines.
Gusto ng mga tao walang magawa si Mayor. Yun ang nakita ko ganyan ngayon.
Kami taga Davao, we know.
Salamat sa mga taong gustong kumumbinsi. I'm honored.
People have been desperately trying to get a glance at the country's new president, Rodrigo Duterte.
Let us begin the healing now.
When Vicente Gonzalez Duterte took that trip to Davao, seeing only better opportunities for his young family, did he ever imagine that he was following a destiny already written for a son who would test his patience and understanding? We can just speculate today, but that one single decision to uproot the family and settle in a land far from what's familiar must have been when destiny first reared its head. Born in Maasin, later to Vicente Duterte, who already became a mayor in the Danao town of Cebu province, and Soledad Gonzalez Roa, who hails from Cabadbaran, Agusan province, now Agusan del Norte in eastern Mindanao. Rodrigo R. Duterte was still 6 years old when the family moved to the city of Davao. His father, as a young lawyer, served as Judge Advocate General of a guerrilla unit during World War II. Just 5 years before that fateful move to Davao, his father Vicente was appointed mayor of Danao and Cebu on 4th of January, 1946, by Sergio Osmeña, the fourth president of the Philippines. Osmeña was serving as vice president to Manuel L. Quezon during the World War II years, and was named president when Quezon died in the U.S. on the 1st of August, 1944. The young lawyer Vicente saw this as his curtain call in Danao politics. In 1951, he left for Davao with his wife Soledad, their eldest daughter Eleanor, Rodrigo, Jocelyn, and Emmanuel. Benjamin was born in Davao. Vicente would gather political clout anew in his new home. He was appointed secretary of the provincial board of the province of Davao in 1954 by Governor Alejandro Landring Durano Almendras. He was appointed by President Carlos P. Garcia as governor of the undivided Davao province, now the Davao region, in 1958, and was elected for 2 terms, 1959 to 1963. It's interesting how the circumstances and the people in the elder Duterte's political life would take a cameo role in his son's as well. And that is how we become more convinced that indeed, Rodrigo Roa Duterte was fulfilling his destiny when he took his oath as the 16th President of the Republic of the Philippines on June 30, 2016, at 71 years old. Senator Manuel Araneta Rojas was to become the favored candidate of President Benigno Simeon C. Aquino's administration and Rodrigo's closest contender in the 2016 presidential race. But that's going ahead of the story. FPRRD was first enrolled as a first grader at Santa Ana Elementary School when the family arrived before transferring to Ateneo de Davao, where he completed his grade school years in 1957. It was only upon his father's death in 1968 when FPRRD was already in college, completing his Bachelor of Arts at the Lyceum College in Manila, that he finally took his studies seriously. His sister Eleanor speculated it must have been a period when FPRRD went through the dark night of the soul. Upon his father's death, he was already 23 but still in college. Only his elder sister Eleanor has completed her education. All others were still in school. Their youngest Benjamin was still 10 years old. He was the only sibling who was old enough to be their mother's sounding board, Eleanor said as she was away in the US. FPRRD finally finished his Bachelor of Law degree at San Beda College in 1972. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 to 8 is FPRRD's oft-repeated Bible verse. This sums up his views on life and describes how he rose from the lowest ranking fiscal to the President of the Philippines. In 1976, FPRRD was appointed Special Prosecutor of the Tanod Bayan, as provided in the 1973 Constitution. The Tanod Bayan receives and investigates complaints relative to public office, including those in government-owned or controlled corporations and, when appropriate, files a case against offenders. It was martial law. Work was ministerial. Later, he was appointed as Assistant City Fiscal. He was working near incognito. He never appeared in public, and his ambition then was eventually to be a judge. As abuses mounted during martial law, a protest movement was spawned and grew widespread nationwide with the assassination of Benigno S. Aquino Jr. Among the leaders of the protest actions was Nanay Suling. Thus, when Marcos was ousted and Corazon C. Aquino was placed in power, she appointed Nanay Suling as vice mayor of Davao City. Nanay Suling was adamant in refusing the appointment and instead substituted the name of FPRRD. The call of the times was peace. At the height of the unrest against the national government, communist insurgency gained a foothold in Davao City, and it became the New People's Army urban laboratory. The communists perceived enemies of the state, the uniformed personnel, paramilitary men, and community leaders who supported them as individuals and as organizations were assassinated in broad daylight. The insurgents were feeling in control, the euphoria of a communist takeover fanning their braggadocio, terrorizing residents who had to live with the sounds of gun battles breaking out anytime and another uniformed person dropping dead right on the street. FPRRD pushed for local peace talks and won the hearts of the people as he was relentless in going where the people were suffering the most and espoused the benefits of choosing peace over conflict. Thus, he won his first landslide win in his first stint as mayor. The people cheering him on and trusting him with their votes have just grown more and more for 9 years as mayor, took a break for 1 term as congressman, and then another 3 terms. He ran and won as vice mayor after the 3-term limit, and then as mayor again. All undefeated, all because he addressed the pressing concerns that bothered the greater majority, from communist insurgency and urban assassinations, to drug menace, to vices and abuses, from emergency medical and rescue assistance to children with cancer. When fear strikes, he is there, all ready to help, just as he also helped cities and regions that were caught in unimaginable disasters. From the Ormoc City flash flood caused by Typhoon Uring in November 1991 to Typhoon Yolanda in November 2013, which devastated Tacloban City and major parts of Eastern Visayas. Through all these actions, he encouraged generosity among Davaoeños. He never staked a personal claim on the relief donations, but labeled these as from the people of Davao City all the time. FPRRD was more than just a breath of fresh air. He was the unthinkable. That is why he won as president in the most unthinkable ways. He buried Mar Rojas with a 6.6 million lead despite the massive election funds the administration candidate was showered with by both the administration and the oligarchs. For 6 years, too, the Filipinos enjoyed the unthinkable. Government infrastructure all over the country and not just Metro Manila. Ease of travel for all, from airports to seaports to roads. Government welfare service that even the poorest enjoyed. The quickest and most efficient emergency and relief operations without any fanfare. The whole country made safe for all to walk around in any time of the day. And just about every facet of government service that the Filipinos never imagined was possible. He stepped down with an unimaginable plus 81 net satisfaction rating in the SWS rating. Even his lowest rating in Pulse Asia in September 2021 at 64% was high compared to those who preceded him. He was the presidential candidate who ran without campaign funds and had painted used rice sacks as posters and streamers made by the people themselves. He was the president who bowed to the people and always treated them with respect, whether they were rich or poor. He was the president who sat down with them to condole, to reassure, or to just break bread. He was the president who backed up his praise for the overseas Filipino workers with actions that helped and benefited the OFWs and their families. He was the president who made Filipinos proud even among all global leaders. The president who prioritized all regions in his Build, Build, Build infrastructure program. And the president who was quick to crack the whip on government officials who were accused of corruption. He set the bar high for future leaders. His was also the smoothest, least controversial exit, as he simply bowed out to the next elected leader, giving the most respectful salute as his successor, President Ferdinand R. Marcos, arrived at the Malacanang. FPRRD knew he had run out of time even as there was still a lot that was left undone. It was time to go. For indeed, to everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven.
But I would like to promise you a comfortable life under me. Comfortable. I will make sure that there is no corruption. And I will make sure that we can correct. Just give me time. Salamat po. And may God bless our country, the Philippines. And may God bless the Filipino people.